Oh, now this is Margaret Ann Windsor, Peggy Ann Childers, Dempsey. That's the name. Dempsey Childers. That's the name I have to use. And this is tape two. I'm talking about John F. Kennedy. This is the 22nd of November, and everybody, you turn on the TV, that's all you hear. You do not tell what they did that brought all this about, and about me. And I'm right here, 45 miles or 40 from Virginia Tech and the mind control murders, and a whole bunch more that have happened. And I put on the prior tape about Larry Flint. The guy was programmed to shoot him, and I was flown out there. And I began finding out about my kidnapping, and my real name is Margaret Ann Windsor, and this is my father, the real King Edward VIII. My Aunt Georgia O'Keefe. My father was married. He never had anything to do with Wallace Warfield Simpson. They used an impostor to marry her. But so I can get this on this tape, I wanted to, well, they're talking about assassinating. I'm going to turn around and you can't see. I mean, the bedroom, living room are all together here. I'm lucky to have this, even though there's a whole lot of problems. So I'm going to show that just, I'm 75 years old. I probably feel like 85 at the moment. But I'm going to tell you, while they're singing the praises of the Kennedys today, and I sit here and wondering how can people, because so many people knew it before I did, how can they be praised for it at the same time? They never mention anything about me or my dad, the truth, or anything about what's been done to Great Britain. So I'm going to go into, they say, where were you? Do you remember where you were when Kennedy was shot in November of 63? Yes, I do remember. Nobody asked me that just because somebody told me the other day that I don't even really know them. They walked by me. They knew about me. And they said, and they said it very demeaning, well, at least you're still alive. Well, I don't know if they cared to walk in my shoes. I don't know if you call this alive or not. It's a wonder at the people that hate me, and you find out they hate me because I was born, because the United States committed the crimes against me, and they don't want to hear it. They want to go on doing what they're doing today with John F. Kennedy, and how dare you say anything about him or tell the truth. Anyway, now I got something going on outside now. I don't know if I can complete this or not. But anyway, I grew up and I had to work after school. I'm not going to be able to finish it. They're doing that out there. The woman was horrible growing up with her. You can't even describe the way I was treated by that family. And I later found out that they all knew and were silenced by the old grandmother, because Lina would have found herself in a gas chamber if it were made public about her killing the twins. So I was put there, and I grew up and was told that's who I was. And all the sisters, I believe there were 7 sisters and one Matthew Dempsey, who was in the U.S. Military later on, that all knew this and kept it quiet. So I found out in '83. So back to what the Kennedys, they have kidnapped me, Joe, and all you have to do is read about John Kennedy. He was in Great Britain during this time, supposedly helping his father at the embassy in England, flying in and out. Hey, these are the years that I was born and kidnapped. It doesn't take a great leap to see what happened or put it together. So they got a hostage, the real monarch, brought me over here to Moulton, Alabama. So my sons were born close together, and I thought I was slightly depressed. So I went in Huntsville to Hyman Miller, who was a psychiatrist, a Jewish psychiatrist. And his anesthesiologist was Dr. Berg, and her husband was a physician, and both of them are Jewish. So they had a heyday with me, Miller and the anesthesiologist, Berg. After I'd gone a few times, he started putting me on psychotic drugs. Then I was shocked, and I would go to his office. My husband would take me there, and later I found out my husband was CIA, so this was all planned ahead of time, what was going to happen to me. Uh, so this went on, shocking my brain, and I hope the world has to see it because they call assassinating John Kennedy while his family were the ones doing this to me and bringing it about, helping do it. I wonder what you call assassination because I was able to walk, and I can't do that anymore. I'm from the chemicals and all of it. I can't even walk anymore. I'm allergic, and I'm going to say this now. The only thing that was wrong with me, other than withstanding the hell that was dumped on me, I am allergic to chemicals. That has nothing to do with mental illness. It has to do with if I'm around certain chemicals, especially industrial, my immune system attacks itself, causes inflammation. You have to get away from it. So if it's in your home or your environment, you're really in trouble because the only thing is you move if you can't get rid of it. And it takes out your kidneys over a period of time if you're around it much, or your lungs, vascular system, can cause strokes, heart attacks, all these things. So at the moment, it's been heck for me, and I can hardly walk anymore. I'm 75. So nothing's ever been done about any of the crimes that were committed on a daily basis to me and my sons. But back to Hyman Miller. He was a New York Jew. His wife was from Germany. She was a German Jew. And what can I say? They knew, I look back at some things that Hyman Miller said to me, and he knew who I am, my real name. He knew that it was a diagnosis murder, that I was never that, and he was supposed to do it to me. There were only two, or one at the time, psychiatrists in Huntsville because of NASA. And by the way, who do you think built NASA if you go back and look at it? I'm put 40 miles away in Moulton in 41, and early 50s, NASA starts the space program in nearby Huntsville, and you've got the Redstone Arsenal, the command center there. So they really got themselves a hostage, didn't they? Anyway, I was just shocked. And I mean, it's a wonder I had a brain then, the wonder I've been able to withstand any of it or the onslaught of it. Now then, if this was done to one Jewish person or one person from America, there would be all kinds of uproar about it. And yet it's been allowed to happen to me with me begging and telling people, and no, they didn't doubt it. They knew it was the truth. They just didn't care. It's plain and simple. So I don't know how many times over the years that I was taken to his office or, hospitalized and shocked over the years and given psychotic drugs when they used a non-existent illness on me to torture me is exactly what happened. So on November the 22nd of 83, or excuse me, of 63, I know exactly where I was. I had been shocked and shocked and shocked. And you have to take dry up pills. Everybody should see it. And I hope somewhere there's tapes showing what they were doing to me. And I'd like to see the look on their face because it would be a look of glee for them that they were torturing me that way. I was born and kidnapped. That was the crime I was guilty of, okay? So, November the 22nd of 63, I was working for Pizzette's department store, which had just opened. And I had just gotten out of being shocked and shocked by this Jew, Dr. Miller. And I went to work there. And right after I went to work, I didn't know who he was referring to me to, but the manager of Pizzette's came out and said, I bet you didn't know we had royalty working here. I had no idea he was talking of me, too. But he introduced the assistant manager. And I'm not going to give his name. If he's still alive, because he helped me, I guess people would go back and look for that to hurt him. But he was a relative. And he showed up, and I didn't know it at the time. It was later that I pieced it together. But I hope someday he's still alive, and at least I can thank him. There was one person that tried to help. Didn't think it was okay to do all this to me and my sons and my country. So I guess I could just stop there because it's been ongoing, because they've used a non-existent illness to torture me. And if you had a background check done, some of this stuff shows up on it, and you can't tell anybody. I can't get an attorney. I'm told that, hey, I want to live. It's what they'll say, if one will even talk to me. I'll say this, that over the years, it's been used on me. I can't get it all down here. So until something is done to stop this, I get my name back. DNA would certainly do it, but look what happened to Anastasia next door here in Charlottesville. And that was Anna, and it didn't do any good to get a DNA, because the DNA was a lie. That was Anastasia, not far from me. She lived on a farm with Professor Minahan, who was her husband, and in Scottsville, outside Charlottesville. And the DNA didn't show that. They lied about the DNA. So it was later that I had court papers about some of the royal family actually come, and it was in court here, but it was covered up. I had the court documents somebody got for me and gave. I know, I'll tell you who got them. The guy that was a handyman, supposedly, that was with Anastasia on the farm with Manahan, the professor at the University of Charlottesville. He was with them all those years till Anna was killed by the Blue Ridge Mental Health, is who killed her. So mental health is being used as a murder weapon. But he, oddly enough, after she died and Manahan died under weird circumstances, and the woman got all of the farm and everything. It was all illegal. I can't get into that now, but the handyman who was with him all those years, he's the one that got the documents from the court and handed to me. He had his head bashed in. He was put in a Virginia State prison. So they made up a crime and put him in there and beat him to a pulp while he was there, all because he had worked there and knew Anastasia was the real one. So I'm going to have to stop on this one. And they've used the mental health system over and over. And for some reason, I did the book and told about mind control and all that, and about these that are done in patterns. And I'll say it again, mind control has nothing to do with mental illness, except it's being used, and mental illness is being blamed for crimes. So I'll let it go.